What's up, math fans? Today I want to solve trigonometric equations, alright? And what's a trigonometric equation? It's basically an equation where there's one or more trig functions in it, sine, cosine, or tangent. So you just have to remember what you did in linear algebra when you solve linear equations, and it's pretty much the same thing. So you're just trying to isolate the variable. Here my variable is theta, so I'm going to do inverses until theta is alone. So what I would do is sine theta, let's say you're scared, oh no, what is that? So forget about sine theta, pretend sine theta is x, and do what you would do if you were solving for this as x. So I'm going to replace or substitute sine theta and call it x instead. So let's say this was 2x minus 1 equals 0. What would you do? Well, that's a two-step equation. I'm going to add 1 to both sides, then I'm going to divide by 2. Right? 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 divided by 2 is a half. So I'm done, x equals a half. But then you have to realize, wait a second, x really represented, it was a substitution, x was really sine theta. So now I got to substitute back and say, hold on, if x is 1/2, then really sine theta is equal to 1/2. And then you use your trig skills from my other videos. One of them was memorizing the trig function values of special angles. What angle has a sine equal to 1/2? The sine of what angle equals 1/2? Hopefully you've memorized that it's 30 degrees. So theta equals 30 degrees. Depending on the directions, they might ask you to convert and answer the question in radians or degrees, depends. I'm going to stop here at degrees. Are we done, or are there more possible answers? Well, understand there's actually infinite answers. So again, it depends on the directions. Are they asking only for an acute answer or all answers? They can't possibly ask for all answers because the answer is going for infinity. Why? Well, imagine what 30 looks like. So 30 degrees is an acute angle and it looks like this. And if 30 degrees is an answer, then any angle that's coterminal with 30 degrees would also be an answer. So if I spun all the way around like this, that's 360 plus 30, that's 390. 390 is another answer. I could just keep spinning, keep adding 360. So you will get infinite answers if you add, or you could spin the other way and stop here. So if I added or subtracted 360 n times, as many times as I wanted, I would get as many answers as I wanted. So I'll probably just stop at 2 positive answers, the acute answer and one more answer that's less than 360. Here's how you find the other answer. Well, you graphed 30 degrees and you realize my answer is 30 degrees or an angle that has a reference angle of 30 degrees. So remember that all students take calculus, which means the sine came out to a positive 1/2. Where else is the sine coming out as a positive value? Here. So what angle has a reference angle of 30 degrees? This one, 180 minus 30. So my other possible answer would be 150 degrees, okay? And that's it. So you have 2 possible positive answers that are less than 360. Let's look at the next one. I'm not going to substitute x. I'm more comfortable already just by doing it. You could do it that way if you wanted. So here I'm going to try to get my cosine theta alone, which means I'm going to, let's see, I have a couple of options. I'm going to subtract 5 cosine theta from both sides. Those are considered like terms. Radical 3 is alone, and this is now 2 cosine theta. Negative 2 cosine theta divided by the coefficient, which is -2. That cancels. Cosine theta is alone, and it equals negative radical 3 over 2. Doesn't matter where I put the negative, it's a negative answer. So now you're asking yourself, where is the cosine negative? Well, first of all, I'm going to ignore the negative for a second, and real quick in my head, and of course you can go to the calculator and press cosine inverse and find out your answer. But I like to do this in my head. So what angle has a cosine equal to radical 3 over 2? That angle is, well, let me see here. The sine of 30 was 1/2, and the cosine of 30 is radical 3 over 2. So again, my reference angle is 30 degrees. Now, if all students take calculus, I can't accept 30 degrees. I have to look for where the cosine is negative. So cosine's positive here, cosine's positive here. So I'm looking for 2 answers here and here. That's here or here. So you just got to figure out what angle is this and what angle is that. Well, one of them is 180 minus 30 and the other one is 180 plus 30. 180 minus the reference angle and 180 plus the reference angle. So 180 minus 30 is again 150. Oh, what a coincidence. And the other one's going to be, 210. And that's it, okay? Last one. Oh man, this one looks crazy. So you could replace the tangent of theta with x and write it like this. 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 equals 0. Now it's a quadratic, but you know how to solve that. I'm going to use rainbow, which I taught in Algebra 1. So this becomes x squared minus 5x minus 6 equals 0. Now I can use some product to factor that. That's easy enough. What multiplies to negative 6? Let's see, we got x and x. Negative 6, positive 1 will then add to negative 5 in the middle. But because I use the rainbow method, that 3 comes back. Now I'm going to divide by my GCF. So I have x minus 2 times 3x plus 1 equals 0. So when you go to your t-chart, you get inverse answers. So either x equals 2 or x equals negative 1/3. All right? Then you're going to get your calculator, because I'm not going to do this for you. And I'm going to remember, oh, wait a second. If there's no x in the question, it was tan theta. So either tan theta equals 2 or tan theta equals negative 1/3. So again, you're going to go to your calculator this time. This time it's not a special angle, so I can't do this one in my head. And you're going to go tan inverse of 2 and see what that gives you. I think it gives you like 64, 68 degrees, something like that. Let's say approximately 68 degrees. I'm not 100% sure about that. Check my work, please. And then the same thing here. You're going to go tan inverse of negative 1/3, and you're going to get an answer. Are those the only answers? No, because then you're going to ask yourself, well, where else is the tangent positive? Besides the quadrant 1 angle, it's also positive here. So then I'm going to do 180 plus this answer. Then you can ask yourself, where is the tangent negative? Tangent is negative, so I'm going to be looking for answers in these two quadrants. Okay? Simple as that, or complicated as that. It's a lot of simple steps. You just got to be patient and set up your steps. Solve the equation, find the missing angle, figure out what quadrant it should be in. Look for at least 2 answers. Thanks for watching. See ya.